Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this gorgeous little pouch that you see right here. Now this pouch was created using our Spot Saver yarn from Spotlight. Now this yarn, as you, if you are regulars, would already know. If you are new, joining us new, you won't know this. We use this particular yarn to create this gorgeous swatch blanket of 2021. I almost forgot the name of it then. That blanket there was created last year using different color combinations and different patterns of the Spot Saver yarn. But when we created that piece, we ended up with a whole lot of these particular colors left. Now it's 100% acrylic. It is a 10 ply or a number 4 weight, or an Aran weight, if you will. So it's kind of not a really thin yarn, but not a thick one as well. You will need your 5mm hook. Okay, there's some instructions for cleaning and care and whatever else have you. There's our 5mm hook. That's the one we're working with today. You will need scissors, you will need 4-stitch markers, and you will need that sewing needle. And that is the one that came from our little pack here. All right, so there you go. You're going to need all these items, and that's our gorgeous pouch. Color combination chosen by the lovely Liz Angelekos through one of our live antics. Now on Saturday mornings we tend to do a thing called live antics, and that gives a subscriber a choice to choose a color combination for one of our projects throughout the week here on YouTube. And Liz chose the grey and the cream. Now I could have used more cream, but I didn't feel like it. I was going to do like every second row, that kind of thing, but I didn't really feel like it. I love the look of this right here, right now. Okay, you can use your pouch for anything you like. I'm going to use it to house my little gorgeous new weaving needle case, because these cases, they're made of plastic and they crack easy in my bag. So if I pop it in my pouch, and as you can see, one needle's missing, and I actually purchased that on the whole pack on the weekend at our Spotlight store here in Melbourne, Australia, one of our largest craft chains. So I just like to pop my sewing needles in their pouch right there. So if I was to toss this around, I would not crack it. Okay, so it protects my sewing weaving needles. But you can use yours for anything you like. And I know a lot of my friends use theirs for their iPod or plug things, their ear plug things, little small ear plug things they have, and they pop them in there and it keeps them safe from damage as well. All right, so you can use them for anything you like. How big is mine, I hear you ask? Let me grab my measuring tape, and mine was roughly, and we are talking roughly around 4.5 inches or 11 centimeters in width. And even if it's a bit smaller or larger, it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. And the across way is around 4 inches or 10 centimeters as well, or roughly around. Again, there's no right or wrong size. You can create yours to suit you. Now, I start off with 17 single crochets, or I think it's 18 chains, 17 single crochets. But if you wanted to make yours wider, just add more single crochets. The count itself doesn't matter, like you're not counting for any particular measurement. However, when you're doing your rows, the grey row to the end of that grey row right there must have odd rows. So I do mention that in the tutorial, so don't stress too much. It must be an odd amount of rows up. All right, but other than that, there's not much else you need to know. It is just single crochets, chains to start off with, and then single crochets along the sides. That was a little tricky for me. I found that a little bit tricky. Hopefully yours isn't as, complicated. It was just me being so fussy, but there you go. All right, thank you for watching, guys. All I can say is good luck creating your gorgeous little pouch. Alrighty, guys, we're going to start off by making a quick slip knot. Grabbing the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Grab your back tail and pass it halfway over, or I should say your back thread. Grab the other thread, passing it all the way over your finger, pop your hook in that loop and just give everything a tug. All right, we're going to create our little pouch by making a chain of 18. Now a chain is yarn over your hook, pull it through the loop once, yarn over twice. Try not to make these too tight. Yarn over 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, and do your 18 all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end of this section. I'm going to pop this on fast for you. 7, and 18. I'm sorry guys, my thread kind of got caught under the table there. Okay, and from here we're going to do single crochets across in these loops, but we're going to do them in the back bumps. It's a little bump right there. Now if you're new to crochet and you don't want to do that, just pop them in any loop. You can pop them in any loop there like that, but the back bump just gives it a little bit of a neater look. Okay, so we're going to, not that first stitch, but it is that first stitch right there, just pop it to the side and grab its back bump right there. Again, if you're worried about doing this, because this can be a bit awkward, then I would not worry too much about it. Just pop it in any loop. You're popping your hook through and pulling a loop through. You've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops. Just grab a stitch marker and pop it in that stitch right there. 2 loops on top like so. All right, so now you turn your work and you can actually see your back bumps. They're facing you anyway. So your very next one is right there. Yes, single crochet, pull a loop through like so, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And into your next one, 3. And your next one, 4. My thread's getting caught up again. In your next one, 5, and so on. I'm going to pop this on fast for you so you don't have to watch me struggle because I struggled to get it in that back bump. But there you go. All right, I'm going to pop this on fast and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Second last back bump right there, and here is our very last one right there. You can see it sticking up like that. What that is done is it's just given you the same look that you're getting down here. It'll be the same look at the end of your piece. All right, so you've done 1 row of single crochets. What you're going to do firstly, is count your single crochets. We chained 18, so we should actually have 17 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, and there you go. Chain 1 at the end of the row, turn your work. Now you can turn it this way or you can turn it this way. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I always turn it like I'm turning the page in a book. My prerogative, whatever you feel comfortable with, yeah? Now your very first stitch is right there, snug next to you. You're going to pop your hook in that stitch and you can tell it's the little V looking thing, yeah? Pull a loop through. You're going to do your single crochet again, like so. And then you're going to pop a stitch marker in that stitch there. Now doing so, you'll be able to pop your stitch at the end of the row and not miss the stitch, which can happen, yeah? And now you're going to put a single crochet into every stitch where you see that little V on top, yeah? Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2. And into your very next stitch with your 2 little loops on top, and off you go. Single crocheting all the way across your row. Let's pop it on fast and get to the end of the row, and off we go. Alrighty, second last stitch right there. But before we do our last stitch, you want to grab your cream. Okay, so we'll grab our cream All right, just have it waiting there for you. Yes, you're going to start your single crochet in that stitch marker stitch. So pop your hook in, pull your loop through. I would just take out that stitch marker now so it doesn't confuse you while we do this stitch. Yeah. Now you're going to drop your grey. I find it easier to pop it in my fingers at the back. Grab your cream, pop it over the hook, pull it through both your loops on your hook. Now just grabbing your tail end of your cream and your grey, popping it at the back, holding your normal working end, chain one, turn your work and single crochet in that first stitch because we are going to be crocheting with our cream now. We're going to be doing 2 rows of the cream. All right, so all I want you to do is single in your first stitch and your and your second and your third and so on all the way across your row. So what I want you to do is repeat the row that we just did. You're going to do 1 cream and a cream on the way back. So do 2 rows of cream and then meet me back here and we'll talk about colour change again. All right, go and do your 2 rows and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty, here we are at the end of our second row. And what you should have is that 1 stitch left. Now, hopefully you did not cut your end. I didn't mention it in the tutorial at the beginning there, but I put a little disclaimer up there saying don't cut your grey, because all we're doing with the grey is we're bringing it up so we don't have to have too many ends, yeah? Because this part's going to be covered and no one will see it. So pop your hook in your last stitch, pull your loop through, take out that stitch marker for now, just for a moment. Yeah, you've got your 2 loops on your hook, grab your tail at the back, and you might want to grab that little tail there as well, and your working end and whatever else. And then you're going to lift up your grey and you're going to pull your grey through there like so. So your grey will be leaning across your work. Don't pull too tight, yeah, because that's what I found. I pulled too tight and this closes up, yeah. So you're going to chain 1 like normal, turn your work, single crochet in your first stitch like normal, as though you're doing a normal row, grabbing your stitch marker, like so. And then single crochet across. That's it. It's super duper easy. Now, before you go on, let's do a couple of more stitches like so. I'm just going to pull up the loop there. Just give your cream a cut because you're not using your cream for a long time, okay? For at least another 33 rows, actually, to be exact. All right. So this is the best bit, guys. That is it. Seriously, that's it for what you need to do. However, you're thinking it's not that big. However, what I would like for you to do now is to do 33 rows of your grey. That's it. Backward and forward, backward and forward, backward and forward for 33 rows. Now, if you want your piece to be a little bigger, you're welcome to do extra rows, but just make sure it's 33, 35, 37, 39. It's on an odd amount of rows. I will just leave it as another 33 more rows. Meet me back here once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, this is what you should have. 1 long piece. You should have your 2 rows grey, 2 rows cream, and 33 rows of your grey. Now, let's just have a quick look at the measurements. Don't stress too much about it. It doesn't matter if it's a few millimeters off or a centimeter off. It doesn't matter. Mine measures roughly, let's get a close up. Mine measures roughly almost, again, that close-up's not working. I'm using this blue one today because my white one's in the car. Can't be bothered getting it. Don't you love it? 20 centimeter, lengthwise, or almost 8 inches, roughly. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. And across your width of your piece, roughly around 4.5 inches or 4.25 inches, 10.5 centimeters. Again, it doesn't matter. I would like for you to get, let's just get a nice close up right there. Take that stitch undone. Take your last stitch undone because we're going to change back to our cream. But don't cut your grey because we're going to carry that one up, all right? So single crochet into your last stitch, hold it there, grab your cream. All right, so grabbing your cream, you've done this before. I'm going to bring that out a little bit so you can see. You've done this before, so you kind of know what you're doing, but just pop your thread over the hook, yeah, and pull it through your 2 loops. Now you're grabbing your tail end of your cream, your grey end in your hand, tightening everything up. Yes, then you chain 1, turn your work, and you can give everything a little bit of a tug if you like. And in the same stitch, what are you doing? Your single crochet. Super duper easy, yeah? And all this was about was colour change, okay? So what I want you to do now, and I don't think you need to watch me do it because you've done this whole piece, I need you to do 2 rows of your cream, 2 rows of your grey, so you need to do another 4 rows altogether, and then meet me back here and we'll get ready for pattern change, all right? 2 rows cream and 2 rows grey. I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of our, believe it or not, final row. Okay, you should have done your 2 rows white, I'm sorry, let's try cream, and your 2 rows grey. And we are just going to pop our normal stitch in there, normal single crochet, chain the 1, pulling that loop right up. You can leave as long tail as you like, it doesn't matter, we're going to weave that in at the end anyway. So there you go, pop that like that. Oh, you can take out your stitch marker, you don't need it there anymore. All right, so now what we're going to do is, oh, I forgot to cut my cream, as you do. Hello, wake up, Mary. We're going to do the fold, okay? So the fold is, oh, hang on, let's find out which side is our right side and our wrong side first. Remember when we first started, we chained along here, and then we put our single crochets along here. This is our right side. Okay, so flip it to the wrong side. And again, when you're going backward and forward, it doesn't matter. I just like to keep in sync with what is initially the right side and wrong side. Alrighty guys, a couple of minutes ago, I recorded how to weave in your cream ends. Well, I forgot to press record. Clever, huh? So if you had some cream ends in, weave it into your needle, or, you know, thread it to your needle, okay? And I'll just show you quickly how to do it. All you're doing is passing your needle through some stitches like so. And you're splitting some yarn, making sure you can't see the needle from the front, and just weave that in that way, pull it through like so. Let's pretend there's a thread on there. Then you go into a different direction on the way back, and you check the front, can't see the needle, pull that through and then cut your tail. You only need to weave it in twice for this because this is going to get folded over and crocheted over anyways, so you won't see any threads there and it won't come undone. All right, that I can't believe I didn't press record, but there you go. It was just weaving in 2 ends. That's all you missed out on. Now the more difficult part is now placing our stitch markers and making sure we even everything up properly. You need to make sure that you are still on the wrong side of your work, okay? We are having our wrong sides facing us, all right? Grabbing a stitch marker, turning your work to the side. Let's get a close up here. We're going to count 14 rows across. Now, how do we count this, I hear you ask? Well, it looks a little difficult, but it really isn't. You know you've done 2 rows of your grey, yes? And there's your 1 row of your white, that's 3. 4, and then this is cream by the way, 4, and then you're counting every chain space. So we're going to count 14. We've done 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and there's your 14th space. Without dropping your stitch marker, you're going to pop your stitch marker in that 14th space right there. Yeah, turn your work and go to the opposite side, and you're counting 14 across this way, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Grabbing that stitch marker in there. Just being careful. I noticed with this one I hesitated a little bit. That's a really tight row there, okay, but it is one there, okay. Now if you're not sure, just grab your little finger and run it across here, and you can see it landed in the same section, yeah. The other side, however, we're counting 10 across on both sides, all right. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's that tight row, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right there. Yep, grab another stitch marker, flip it, and do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, see the tight row, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's pop our stitch marker in there. Once again, check to see if it matches, and it does. All right, so what you're going to do now, we're going to crochet on the right sides of our work. So you're flipping your work in like so at those points where you put your stitch markers in. Let's not worry about this bottom part. Let's just worry about the top bit. You are folding your top bit right, let's get it close up, on the point of your stitch marker. So you're going through that stitch just under your stitch marker right there. So there's your stitch marker, and you're going through that stitch through both sides of your work. All right, little tricky to start off with, but once you get it, the rest is easy. Yeah, grabbing your thread, grey thread, or you can use cream, whichever suits you. I'm using grey. Passing it forward to lock it into place, do a chain 1 and a single crochet in the same stitch that you are in through all thicknesses, like so. There's your first single crochet. Normally I would crochet over the tail, but I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to leave it at the back for now, which just means more weaving in for me, yeah? You're going straight into your very next gap, you see. Your very next gap or space on the other side. And these are actually the rows you are going through. These are your single crochet rows. So you've done 2. Then you've got another one there and another one there. That's your 3rd stitch. And then you've got your 4th one there, 4th one there. And now we're going to head into the cream, but I would like to pop one in there, like so. All right. Before you do any more, pull up your loop. Grabbing your other side. I'm going to bring that out a bit for you. Folding it at your stitch marker, like so. All right. So before you go into your cream, you need to fold your piece over your other piece. So fold it over or tuck the other one under, if you will, like that. And then start crocheting into your cream. Now what should happen is your grey should be at the same length, at the same row as your cream there. So that should line up with your cream, and that should line up with your cream on the opposite side. Don't worry about the opposite side yet, just worry about this section here. And your creams should line up with your grey on that side. All right, so the way you work it is you are going through that cream stitch, that grey stitch, and then the stitch directly on, make sure we're not in the same stitch. That's the same stitch. We want to go into the next stitch, which is there. All right, so you'll stitch directly on the other side, being careful not to go into the stitch that you were in before there. All right, I'm hoping this is making sense. And then pull your thread through and complete your single crochet. Now you're going to go into your second cream, your second grey, and again a stitch from this side. That's where you're in already. We're going to jump straight into the space on right next to it there. All right, now you're on the greys up the top and the cream down the bottom. Now we're also crocheting over that thread, then the grey thread from before. So you single crochet in your first grey, in your first cream, and over your grey thread and into the grey there. Making sure you're in the right spot. tighten it up, make sure that's tight. So now we are popping our single crochet in that stitch, the grey. Keep going out of frame, sorry guys. The cream with the little grey thread up the top there, and obviously your stitch in the back of your work, pulling it through all thicknesses like so, and then completing your single crochet. Now you're hopping into the grey. Opposite stitch, pull it through and complete your piece. Now this is the easy part, guys. You're just going through those thicknesses now. Just keep crocheting all the way across. Making sure you check, like I do this, and then pull it forward so I know I'm going through both sides, yeah? So making sure you're going through both sides without splitting the yarn. Is this now too close? I just wanted to do that hard part for you so you could see. You're going to do the opposite side as well, all right? And there's the stitch before it. And right where your crochet hook is, I'm sorry, let's try your stitch marker. Hello. Take out that stitch marker and you'll have that look. You want to close that look up, so just pop your hook through that stitch marker, pull a loop through like so, giving your work a cut. And there you go. And that's one side done. All right, a little bit out of shape because we haven't done this side yet. Once we do this side, it'll all lock itself into place. All right, so now we're going to do the opposite side. Instead, we're starting from this area right here. Take out your stitch marker like so, popping your hook through the top part of your stitch like we've done there, yeah. Grabbing your grey thread and pull the loop through like normal. Let's just grab that little tail, bringing it forward. Let's get it close up. And where did I put my hook? It was kind of through the top stitch there. Chain 1, single crochet in that stitch like so. Pop your little tail at the back. I'm going to crochet over my tail because I think you know what you're doing here. Go straight into your very next row, single crochet. Your next row, single crochet. And I'm finding this side a lot easier because it's all lined up anyway. So I'm just going to do about, I don't know, 4 single crochets, and then I'm going to pull that tail through the inside of the work. All right, there's your 4. I'm just going to grab that little tail and just pop it through the inside of our work, which we're going to weave in anyway. Not our loop, just the tail. We're going to weave that in later anyway, but just pop it in there. All right, so the reason I did that now is because our last 2 grey rows are going to be on top of our white. See how ours is on top of the white there? Well, it's got to go on top of that white right on the opposite side, which is there. So we've got, I don't know, 2 more rows, I think. 1, 2, 3. 3 more rows, okay? I think, let's just see how we go once we're in. There and there. Yes, 3. 1, 2. And there's your 3rd one there, like so. Now, before you go into the white, what are you going to do? It's a little bit trickier here. Pop your little tail end at the back there. You're going into that grey stitch right there. Then you're going through the white stitch there. Then you're going through the grey at the back. Pull your thread through all thicknesses. You've got a tail here. Just drop it at the back because we're going to weave that in through the piece later. All right, oh, where's a tail now? My other tail, yeah. And just, oh, you better tighten everything up because this is kind of loose now, which happens on this section. And just do your single crochet. Yep. Then you're going into your 2nd row of your grey and your 2nd row of your cream and straight into the back of your grey. And there you go. Now you're going through 1st row of your cream. this is a tricky part. First row of your grey, and then the opposite side, like so. Last row of your cream. Last row of your grey, which is very tight for me. Oh, very tight. Hope it's not so tight for you. There. And opposite side, and pull that thread through like so. Just pull up a loop for a minute. I'm going to pop this tail inside my work because I don't want it dangling. So I'm going to pop the tail in and then continue the work. Now we're on our last cream. Now we're not just going to go into this grey, but we're also going to stop crocheting over the thicknesses. So straight into the grey on this side, straight into the grey on the other side. Off you go. Easy. Now you're just doing your rows. So I'm just going to go on the same one there, all the way across. And it might help to take out that stitch marker now because you know what you're doing, yeah? Oh. And single in there. And single in there, and a single right at the very, very tip of your work. And I used a piece of thread I had lying around before, which is just enough. Pull your loop through, just give it a tug and give your work a cut. Now I just used a thread that I had lying around. I didn't think it would be enough, and it was. So there you go. Oh, I was hoping it'd be enough. All right, so that's your piece. And what I want you to do is grab your sewing needle and just grab your ends like so. Your needle like this, pop it in and just pop it in directly into your work. This one's already in there. Yeah, you're going to turn it inside out and you're going to start weaving in all these ends, which is a little difficult. But I would actually just take a risk in weaving it anywhere. You don't even need to go anywhere fancy. Just weave it through anywhere. Oh, I'm sorry. Just threw some stitches there. Just making sure you can't see the needle from the front because that's going to be your front side once we turn it back in. Okay, so just weaving it through. Once you get here, you can probably weave it down the edges if you like, whatever. Check the front, make sure you can't see it. Okay. And then you're just going back the other way. Yep, there. And back in there if you like. Doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. Oh, I just realised I've gone almost in through the front, so I'm gonna come back again. Don't do that, guys. Don't go to the forward part, the front part. All right, and just give it a cut. You could have just done 2 rows. It doesn't matter. Because it's inside, no one's going to... Firstly, no one's going to see it. Right, but secondly, it's not going to come out because you're not going to use that very much, that inside part very much. And there you have it, guys. What I want you to do now is to get these little tails you see here, 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 and here, sew them through. I'm going to show you one big one just so you can see it go in. So you're just going to thread your needle right there. And all I'm going to do is just stick my hand in there. And just pop this thread, I would pop it through the back area because this is the front of your work and you want it to go at the back. So I would go into a stitch right there at the back, just popping, making sure you're not going to pin yourself. Pop it through like that. Have a look at it. If it doesn't look right, you can always take it undone now while you've got the opportunity, but I think it's fine. It looks great to me. And then you turn it through like that. And you start weaving in your tail anywhere you like. I'm going to find it easier to go through some of the thickness that we sewed over. Oh, I'm sorry, crocheted over. Our single crochet row over. Our final row, that is. And then just going back the other way. And you don't need to do a lot because it's already been crocheted over once. Well, it hasn't really, has it? A little bit has, but you don't need to overdo it. There you go. It's done. That one is done right there. So what I want you to do, guys, is do the same with all these tails. That one can go in through the back that way, right into the pocket, and then open it up and, weave it in like we just did. The same thing you can do there, weave it in through the back way and sew it in through the pocket and so on and so on. And that's what you're doing with the rest. Now, what would you use your little pouch for? You could use it for anything you like. I'm going to use mine to hold my new sewing needles in. I bought these sewing needles. As you can see, one is missing because that's the one we're working with. I'm going to use my sewing needles from Spotlight. These ones were from our Spotlight store here in Melbourne, Australia. It's one of our larger chains. And I'm just going to use it for my sewing needles. And then I'm going to pop this in my bag. So whenever I'm looking for my needles, I'll just say, I know it's in this little pouch right here. And this goes in my crochet bag with my hook sets and all my things that I use when I'm traveling. Okay, but you can use it for anything. You can pop anything you want in there. I know a lot of people who have iPod earplug thingies and they pop theirs in there. I don't know what they're called. They're iPod earplug thingies. How do you like that? So they pop their little earplug things in there and that goes into their bag. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all the wonderful things that you guys will pretty much already do for me. And also don't forget the lovely Liz Angelekos from our live chat chose the grey and the white for her little project. Now, she didn't know what I was making, and this is something our subscribers do on our Saturday morning live. Now, ordinarily we have our Saturday morning lives at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, that is, and 4 p.m. on a Wednesday, Melbourne, Australia time again. From the 21st of May to about 4 weeks worth, I may not have that time on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. But I will let all our subscribers know and I'll leave notifications on our community board and so on. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us for our gorgeous little, I don't know, we'll call it an iPad, I don't know, an iPod earplug pouch. I'm just going to call it a pouch. Thank you for joining us for our pouch with the colour combination chosen by our gorgeous Liz Angelekos. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to weave in all your ends. My name is Mary. This is Wild Crochet Designs and ciao for now.